It's August 11th, 2011, and I'm sitting here this afternoon with Rita Merman. Hello, Rita.
Hi, Bob.
She's from Newbury, England. When did you first come to Manchester?
I came to Manchester in 1946. My mother, who was Irene Halverson, and she was related to the Johnson girls. My grandmother was related to Alice Daniels, Clara Hall, and my Aunt Ada. But she married a man called John Merriman, so that's why I'm Rita Merriman, but now I'm Gardner. When they divorced, she brought us back to Manchester, and as children, we lived in the cabin for about a year, and then we moved into the house.
Excuse me, just to say, the cabin you're referring to?
I'm referring to the cabins that Roy's father built.
Okay.
And they were mainly created as just summer beach houses.
And this cabin is located?
It's on the beach in Manchester, one of two remaining. And it's something the county would like gone, but we've restored it, so it's going to stay.
The cabins that are right behind us now?
Yes.
And we're at the Hall place?
Yes, the Hall has one cabin and we have the other cabin.
I see, okay.
And so we lived there for about a year, and then we lived in the house that Roy's father had built for his mother, Grandma Daniels. So we lived there until 1948, and about that time they took the ferry boat that used to come from Seattle to Manchester off the run. So we then had to move to Seattle. We moved to Ballard while my mother was working in Seattle. But as children, we came here every summer. And just the things that are now gone that I remember. There was a big white building at the end of the dock, which was a cafe as the boat would come in and out, and then was burned down by the fire department as a training exercise. On the other side of the dock was kind of a boathouse. You could get bait, fishing tackle, all that sort of thing. Walked up Main Street and there was the post office run by Mrs. Randall, the Manchester grocery store, which was kind of owned by Mr. and Mrs. Burke from Iowa at that time, the variety store, and a soda shop at the end. And it was heaven. Manchester Inn was there. And then in about 1958, my stepfather, Dave Soyet, was in active service in the Navy, so we went back east. And I didn't really return to Manchester until 1979, when they returned. He retired, and he then kind of remodeled the Daniel House. And I've been coming more or less every other year since then, until this present day. But this place is wonderful, and I hope to stay here for a few more years.
Oh, good.
Knowing Bob and his father Fred. Kitty, his sister, was a very good friend to both my sister Ingrid and I, and there's just still many people we remember in Manchester.
Oh, I remember. Is Ingrid live around here? Or?
She is a child, shared the same history, but now she lives in Shaw Island.
Oh, she does?
Yes, and she still comes down to visit when family is here, and still goes to see Kitty, because we three girls had, many an evening down on the beach with the beach fires.
Oh, okay. So this is still your cabin down here?
It is, yes.
Oh, wonderful. It's a neat little cabin.
They're fun, yes.
So did you know the Scavanius? Did you take lessons there at
I did. Now, Mrs. Scavanius was my piano teacher. Ingrid and I both took lessons, and she said the sad thing was I could read the music, but Ingrid had the rhythm. She said if she could have combined both of us in one person, she would have had a good student. But sadly, she had two of us.
I see. Well, that's interesting. So you were here basically for a complete decade, from 47 to 57?
Yes. And just seeing the changes, and now when I come back, is really kind of an older person. Manchester is changing almost beyond recognition. I suppose some of it's good. I would like it to thrive as a community. But yes, the old Manchester is slowly going.
I understand. Right. So, is there anything else you'd like to share that you can think about, or?
Well, I just think it's wonderful, Bob, that you are keeping the history of Manchester alive by interviewing kind of my older relatives, Roy Daniels and Myron Hall, and my cousin Stephen Hall, to just let everybody know where the place came from, because it was Roy's aunt who bought this property from the Indians, which is, it's a wonderful history.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Wow. Well, it's been a pleasure meeting you, and I hope that you keep coming back, and it sounds like you will. You've been coming back for
Yes. Many years.
Many years now?
Thank you, Bob. It was
Very
a pleasure.
good. Thank you very much.
Okay.